All right, so there's another New World 4 skip setup. This one I just found today on my stream. The setup is still pretty new, so you can mess with this a little bit. If you want to mess with the setup, change it up a little bit for you, whatever works. But yeah, this one's going to take place behind Duel by the Dragon, just like the original setup, except this time we're not going to be using the starting position down on this roof. We're going to actually be using a new starting position. This one is much more consistent in my opinion. So make sure Sly stands right here. You want to make sure his foot is right here on the outside edge of this middle point. It's not really precise. You can just land here, and this should update your grounded position. But you want to make sure Sly doesn't move too far to the right, or you will hit the Duel by the Dragon level trigger, as it's right next to you. So be very careful you don't hit the Duel by the Dragon level trigger, unless of course you want to enter that level. But from here, what you're going to do is you're going to super jump, and you're going to jump off the roof down and land on this wooden beam on the bottom. And then from here, I'll let Sly get the ledge grab here. I'll show you what I mean. So you're going to get a ledge grab, and this looks really good already, but I did take a little bit of extra time to set this up. So this is my visual cue. So you want to ledge grab on this wooden beam, and then you'll notice there's this piece of trim. I'm outlining it right now with my mouse. This piece of trim right here is my visual cue. You want to make sure Sly's head or the back, you can use this red piece of his like his backpack where he stores the charms. You can line the left side of that up with the right side of this trim. That works too. I like to use Sly's head. You can also use like his cane, whatever, like how far his cane is away. You could find your own visual cues here. But I like to use the charm on the back or just like his head on the left side and make sure it's flush with the right side of this trim. I'll show you here. I'll let it play out. This is too far to the left. This is way too far to the left. Sly's head is completely clipping through that trim. And then you'll notice I take a little bit of time to get the ledge grab. But this looks good right here. I believe this is the one that I use. Yep. So right here, this is what you want to use. I'm a little bit more to the right than I think I'd like to be here. As you can see, there's a little gap between here, but this should still work. Like I said, this isn't super precise, but every little change in your setup will affect your speed when you get launched back up. So be very careful with your setup here. So from right here, you're going to press R3 on your right analog stick. This will lock the camera behind Sly. And then just like over in spinning, the snuggle setup, you're going to hold down right on the D-pad. Instead of up left this time, it's going to be down right on the D-pad, and you're going to hold X, single jump off. And this should guarantee you drown every time. You'll notice I'm holding down right on the D-pad already. And then I'm going to jump off. I'm going to hold X, and this should guarantee you drown every time. And then the visual cue for this is you'll notice these mountains in the top right. These mountains are my visual cue. As soon as these mountains are about to leave the top of your game feed, this is when you want to press X to cancel your drown. So you'll notice I press X a little bit too late here. Actually, I think it was a little early. Yeah, this was an early one. See, I got just barely enough speed to make it. And then there's another weird thing that happens here. So I'll show you. This is the same exact setup. This is the same save state as last time. So the starting position is exactly the same. And I'm going to get a very similar ledge grab to what I did before. As you can see, there's still a little bit of a gap between the backpack and the trim. It should be exactly the same launch. I press R3, hold down right on the D-pad. I drown at the same spot. And this time I'm going to get an insane amount of speed. As you can see, I'm going to rewind this just a little bit. You'll see I pressed X just a little too late. It was after those mountains left the top of my game feed, and I got a super, super high launch here. And you can still save this. I swung my cane just a little bit too soon, but if I swung it a little later, I still would have made the trick. It's still possible to save this trick. You might be able to find a visual cue to swing your cane to save this, but it's still day one of this setup. But as you can see, I got really close. The trigger was just right in front of me. But this is still day one. Like I said, try out different setups. Don't just use this one. Don't just use the one behind behind spinning, the snuggle setup. Try out a bunch of different setups and try to find one that works the best for you. There's tons of different setups. We're still finding setups to this day. So whatever setup works the best for you is what you should do. This personally works the best for me. It's the most consistent and it's very fast to set up. So I'm probably going to be using this in runs, but hopefully this helps you guys.